Now we are going to move on to the second presentation by Ms. Lorena Aguilar, Regional Coordinator of International Cooperation and Research in FLACSO, Costa Rica, on the topic of building back better long-term solutions towards a greener, rights-based economy. Please, Ms. Aguilar.
Thank you very much. Can you see the screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Kim. Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone from Costa Rica. So let's start talking a little bit how Latin America was living the beginning of the pandemic. The divide was definitely centered in how unprepared our healthcare was and how unprepared our whole system was for managing unpredicted disasters, our hospitals, PPE. There was also this period that we're still facing about finger pointing, finding the culprits, who should be blamed. And we still are going through these trial and error solutions, short-term responses. Should we keep the people in the houses? Should we them mobilize? How much? When? And then we have also seen that the integration system in Latin America is suffering because we have right now, and we're facing what we call this every man for himself approach. And we see the governments competing with each other in the world market, for example, for medical equipment. But one important thing that COVID showed us is that it's just more than just a health issue. As the Secretary General of the United Nations had pointed out, the debate has morphed of underlying structural and institutional inequalities that had been revealed. And you need to remember that Latin America is the most unequal region in the world. So it's an X-ray that has revealing the fractures in the fragile skeleton of our societies. We have built poverty and social exclusion, and they're not product of the coronavirus, but it has magnified definitely in its impact. And also exposed the fallacies and the falsehoods. The lie that free markets can deliver healthcare for all the fiction that unpaid care work is not work, and the myth that we are all in the same boat. So let me share how did the COVID found us in Latin America and the Caribbean. As I said before, the most unequal region in the world. From 2010 to 19, the growth of the region did not exceed 1.9%. It was the worst in the world, even below Africa, that was 4.4. At present, the regional GDP will fall 5.3. I have also been seeing some numbers that are even pointing out that the GDP fall will be even bigger. 30 million more people are living in poverty. And 70% of the companies in Latin America and the Caribbean has decreased their exports due to the pandemic. But let us talk something that we don't talk a lot, and it's about the gender inequalities and age inequalities that also are being affected. 30% is the gap in labor force between women and men in rural areas. Up to 73% of the women entrepreneurs report being financially unserved. The policy of isolation and confinement has led to increased level of domestic, sexual, and GBV. And the unemployment youngsters represent, at the moment, prior to the COVID, 40% of the total number of unemployed were youngsters. But I come from a very green country. You know that Costa Rica has been really thinking that a green economy, development in harmony with nature, that put people and the planet at the center stage. is the way to move forward. And we also think that these are some cooperation entry points between Korea, Asia, and Latin America. We need to integrate the value of nature more effectively in the business models and in decision making. At the moment, we're going to face two possible routes. Business as usual in asteroids. I mean, really not thinking about people, not thinking about the environment, or really changing the way that we have been doing our development. We think that green enterprises are a win-win situation. We need to advance sustainable development while we embrace human rights. We cannot forget that 7 of the Sustainable Development Goals deal with environmental issues out of the 17. And we also think that the national determined contributions that the countries have been developing are a very good starting point. And we cannot forget that the Green Climate Fund is based in Korea. And there is tremendous amount of possibility to enhance the type of initiatives and projects that we are doing at the moment. And then we need to upscale good examples. And I think the best place where you can find some of these examples is an initiative under the Convention of Climate Change that is called Momentum for Change, that brings together the freshness of the private sector, of NGOs, of the UN system, that can show us very good examples on how to move forward. Let me show you, for example, on energy, gender, and post-COVID-19. We know that the adoption of renewable could drive an increase of around 98 trillions in accumulated gains in world GDP by 2050. Of course, these were the data prior to the COVID. But we also need to understand that all countries in Latin America are already working on energy transitions. Jobs could quadruple to 42 million, and employment in the field of energy and efficiencies could expand to 21 million. And women, very interesting, 32% of the workers in renewable energy, 10 points higher than in the traditional energy industry, are women. So we're proposing that some of the entry points is development of these incubators or accelerators that have these innovative solutions that bring together inclusiveness, social justice, and a development that is friendly with the environment. We need to talk about productive chains. For example, the electrical trains that in Latin America are now starting in the majority of the countries can have side enterprises to go along. Where is going to have the textiles that are going to be produced to change the covers in the trains? Where are going to be the cards that are going to be used? So if you really dismantle these productive chains, you can generate a lot of small enterprises around them. Of course, we need the development of new skills, especially IT. If something COVID has shown us is the digital gap that we have, especially in the poor of the poorest. And short term, very short term, we can enhance the health systems, but we need to have a perspective, a longer perspective than just that immediate thing. I come from FLACSO, the Faculty of Social Sciences, and we think that we can become a bridge between Korea, Latin America, and the Caribbean. We can provide technical and academic cooperation that could help us move collaborative and interdisciplinary work. We can have exchange programs between Korean institutions specialized and Asian institutions specialized in Latin America, and work on the generation of new knowledge, the interchange of good experiences, and the development of academic projects that do not remain only in producing good studies, but also unfolding the know-how to do it. This is time for implementation. And of course, keep on providing technical training for decision makers in innovative knowledge and innovative thinking. And just to end with a positive sense, we cannot forget that the Black Plague gave way to Renaissance. And so this is the time that we can use the same energy for COVID. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lorena Aguilar. Yeah, I particularly like your last comments. We need to learn lesson from the Black disease several centuries ago. Dr. Lorena Aguilar actually wanted to emphasize that we have to look at COVID-19 crisis beyond the health issue per se. Instead, we have to take into account the existing problems such as inequality, poverty, all the sustainable development issues. And she also suggested to focus on value of nature even in the business models. Very interesting points. We also look forward to follow-up questions later.